Ariel Helwani in Toronto for UFC 152 alongside the leading candidate for MMA Broadcaster of the Year, Brian Stann, who of course faces Michael Bisping this Saturday night live on pay-per-view. What is up with all the love, Brian Stann? Every day I see another article about how you are the future of not just MMA broadcasting, but broadcasting. Is this getting to your head, Brian?
It's not getting to my head. I've seen maybe one article where a gentleman was nice enough to say I'm good at it, but you know, I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun, and obviously, I mean, you know, it's a very fun career. It's a lot easier than getting shot at, and it's easier than getting punched in the face. So if I can do it in the future, I'd be happy to.
Do you enjoy it more than this? Fight week, preparing for an actual fight?
No, you know, it's just not the same. You're not going to get the same challenge and the experience overall. I mean, every time you fight, it's interesting. You learn more about yourself. You become a better man. You know, it's hard to explain to people who haven't done it, but something's going to happen during this week. Something's going to happen Saturday night where I'm going to have to go over an obstacle. I'm going to have to overcome something, you know, and then I'm going to have to either deal with a win or deal with a loss. And through experiences like that, you become, you know, a better man in my vision. So, you know, obviously broadcasting can't compete with that. But, you know, it's a heck of a way to stay involved in the sport. And I think having to constantly analyze fights has helped me become a better fighter.
Fascinating fight. You're fighting Michael Bisping, a polarizing figure, obviously a British fighter with a very loyal fan base, American fighter with a very loyal fan base. Fight taking place in Canada. Did the UFC drop the ball on this one? Should it have happened in either the US or England?
You know, I don't think they dropped the ball. I think, you know, I've said this before. I like fighting in Canada. I usually ask to fight in Canada. The fans here are fantastic. And when you come to Canada, it's, you know, it's the second biggest sport in this country as far as I'm concerned. And so I think it's great. I think the Canadian fans deserve it. You know, they've gotten some great cards and they always show up. They always sell out. And so I think that's a big deal. If they had just to put it in Vegas, I don't know if it would have been the same amount of hype or if it would have been as important. You know, coming up here to Toronto, I feel like it's a huge event.
And of course, this is the 200th anniversary of the War of 1812, which was won by the Canadians. I don't know if you know this. As a Canadian, I'd like to point that out.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, I've heard that a couple times now, and you know, me and Mike, I think, have done a good job of making this, you know, just personal, me versus Mike, not country versus country. He's got a lot of fans in America. I've actually gotten some love from British fans, which I really appreciate. I actually trained with a British guy, Tom Watson, a lot for this fight, and you know, Mike was kind enough to call him a traitor, obviously, for that. So it's been fun. You know, I could see me and Mike having a lot of laughs after the fight together, but for right now, we're focused on fighting one another.
He has been so respectful of you. He actually talks more trash about Joseph Benavidez, who he's not even fighting. Have you noticed that? And why do you think he's talking all this trash about Benavidez, who has nothing to do with him?
You know, I think it dates back to the pre-fight press conference we did here, where him and Benavidez got in a little bit of a scuffle because Mike made the comment that nobody's interested in the little guys and that our fight was the main event. That's just Mike's nature. You know, if you poke him, he's going to shout back. And you know, I don't know him real well to speak on it, but it's just not my style. You know, I'm not going to get in a war of words. One of the best quotes that I'll always remember, one of my favorite coaches of all time said, you know, don't tell me, show me. And I've always believed in that, not just in sports and business and the Marine Corps and every aspect of my life. Don't tell somebody how good you are, just show them. And so that's what I plan to do on Saturday night.
He's obviously been respectful, no trash talking, but it seems as though he truly believes in everything that he says, that he is better than you in every facet of the game. Where do you think you're better than Michael Bisping?
I definitely think I'm a better striker than he is. I think I'm a better striker, and I also think I have better wrestling. So, you know, I get my chance to prove it on Saturday night. That's the beautiful thing about this line of work is that, you know, we can say everything all we want, but there is a way to go head-to-head and prove who the better person is on that night. And so he's a great fighter all around. There's no doubt about it. He deserves to be where he is. He's put in a fantastic body of work with the UFC, and I'm very lucky that I get to fight guys like that. That's where I want to be. These are the kinds of people I want to fight for the rest of my career, so I know exactly how good I am, and I know I had my shot to get to a title.
He says after the fight he will call out Anderson Silva, the UFC middleweight champion. If you win on Saturday night, will you do the same?
No, I won't. Anderson's the greatest fighter of all time. I'm not going to call him out. And again, it's, you know, don't tell me, show me kind of attitude. I'll let the UFC decide. If I were to get a shot at Anderson Silva, it would be a dream come true. But I also know that his body of work over the UFC, he's going to pick and choose his fights right now. So you really got to prove that you're worthy of that shot, and hopefully I can do that. But I want to earn it. And there's a lot of great contenders at 185 out there. You know, Weidman, Boach, Alan Belcher, Okami. I mean, everybody's out there, and they're all. I mean, I think we could all beat each other on the right night. So it's probably going to take someone to beat everybody before someone's going to get that next shot at Anderson.
Okay, 2 last quick things. Obviously, you're supposed to fight in August. You injured yourself. You had to pull out of the fight. How are you feeling now?
You know, I feel great. The first couple weeks of camp, it was still really sore. I still had to baby it a little bit. But I had a great team of doctors that I worked my rehab with. I did everything the doctors told me to do after that injury occurred so I can get back as quick as possible. It's interesting when you see the comments, people fake injuries or guys are pulling out because of insurance. This is how I pay my bills. You know, I can't pay my bills if I don't fight. So I mean, it's almost nonsense when you see people say that. This is, I wanted to get back as soon as possible, and I was depressed for a good 2 weeks having to pull off that card.
And that was actually my last question. Obviously, you're a very smart, eloquent man. I want to get your take on this because I think you'll have an interesting one. What is going on here with these injuries? What is the answer here from a fighter's perspective? How can we fix this?
You know, we are a young sport. You see the way boxing trains. When you spar with a boxer, they are never going to put someone in there to spar with their fighter who can kick his butt. But in MMA, we feel like we only get better if we train with the best. So you'll go in there and you may train with a heavyweight, you'll train with a guy this way, whatever, but we're all facing great guys on a daily basis, and we can't help but go really hard. Instead of focusing on, hey, he's got a fight coming up, so when I do my round for him, I'm going to mimic his opponent. And so I think that's the problem. I think we have to get more intelligent on how we train and realize that as a professional, we need to fight to make money and have longevity in our careers. Constant injuries in the gym, depleting our chins in the gym is going to take away from all of our careers.
Thank you, Brian, and good luck on Saturday night.
Thanks, Ariel.